This is the final printout. This is the company operating report for Team E. And as I dive into the company operating report, I'm going to get information on why I did in more detail and make decisions about how I'm going to do better. So I start off, and a lot of this is just confirmation. Um, it, I did, in fact, order the plant upgrade A for my North America plant. I come down, everything looks as expected. Here I see that my productivity increased. That's good. In North America, no change in Asia Pacific. Some wage rates. I see that my production statistics, my North America plant operated at 98% of capacity, whereas my Asia Pacific was at 78. So that's not good because it's a lot of idle capacity. And I see the difference is I had no private label production in Asia Pacific, whereas I had some private label production in North America, and that's what made a big difference. Also note here that I did something that I didn't mean to do. I'm sure the real people were doing the team did. I don't tend to do this. I don't split the the star rating amongst the two factories, and you're going to see why in a minute. But I was producing a 6-star shoe in North America and only a 4-star shoe in Asia Pacific in the branded. This gives me a chance to get detailed into my costs. And again, I kind of already know these because I've seen these in the footwear industry report and the comparison page, but this gives me a chance to dive into them in more detail. You can see my labor costs were $5.33 per shoe, which was, if I remember, that was below average. So I'm happy about that. Certainly a trend that I want to be. In fact, I want to be the lowest in the industry. Rejected pairs, you can see they cost quite a bit of money, and so when you do things to reduce your reject rate, it matters quite a bit. So this is where I dive into my production numbers. Next is my distribution and warehousing, and this tells an important tale for me in a couple of ways. In my warehousing, I see that I actually shipped more shoes than I needed to my North America plant, and I ended up with a pretty good surplus of shoes. Contrast that with my other three regions where I didn't quite have enough shoes there, and so I sold out, and I'm at the minimum inventory. Whereas in North America, I have too many shoes in inventory, so that's a bit of a problem. You can also see how the computer gets confused. I'm shipping. I shipped shoes from my North America plant to North America and to Europe, Africa, and did not ship them to, and then shipped them from Asia Pacific to my Asia Pacific factory to Asia Pacific and to Latin America. And so because of that, you can see here it got a little bit confused and it said, well, in Europe, Africa, you've really got a 5-star shoe because you've got some shoes at 6 stars from North America, but you've also got shoes at 4 stars from Asia Pacific. And so the computer, it won't say, I judged you to be a 4.67-star shoe. So it's just going to tell you in gross terms. That's why I say it decomplicates life quite a bit if you produce the same star shoe out of all your factories. You can also see the impact of tariffs. Um, so no tariff in North America, some tariff in Europe, Africa, none from the ones that, or a smaller amount that came from the ones in North America, relatively stiff tariff on the ones from Asia Pacific, no tariff in Asia Pacific, but notice that I paid that full $6 a shoe tariff for those shoes that came out of Asia Pacific and into Latin America. You can see that's a huge part of the price. So this is why paying attention to exchange rates and also paying attention to tariffs is going to be important as you choose how to distribute your shoes. This is one of those logistics things that isn't sexy, it's just important. Didn't do any inventory clearance. This is where I would pick up if I had some bad things happen in the warehousing. And I am going to see some bad things happen in next year's warehousing because at all those shoes left over, they're going to sit in the warehouse for an extra year. Next, I get into, and this is where I get a chance to see my breakout of what things cost me in terms of my marketing money. Administrative expenses doesn't tend to be particularly interesting. Hopefully you want them to stay uninteresting. They can only kind of be bad news. This also points out a mistake I made. I bid in Europe, Africa, and Asia Pacific to sell 3-star shoes in private label. Well, what's the minimum star standard to sell a private label shoe? It's 4 stars. At least it was last round. It'll change as the simulation progresses based on where your market goes up or down. And so potentially I could have sold shoes here had I not been a dummy and bid the wrong star shoe. So that's kind of a big because you can see when I get down to here, the private label market, the ones that I did sell were very good to me. I made my marginal direct cost was $5.14 at Latin America. And if you remember, Latin America, the margins were very thin. So it's great that I was able to sell them at a profit. Wish I would have done that in some of these other regions had I gotten my bids correct. Income statement, again, this is where you can really dive into things to see exactly where maybe you're out of whack. You probably picked up much of this when you went through, again, the comparison page in the footwear industry report, the very first report that we looked through. But this is where you can spot some, I can't think of a more elegant way to say it, but this is where you can spot some boogers you got out there hanging, because it's not obvious until you dive into the numbers that, oh, that was where I was messing myself up. So I pay attention to this quite a bit and sometimes get some good information. Lastly, in the balance sheet and the cash flow, if you remember, Team E ran out of cash, and it says that, 0 cash on hand, and it'll show that I had to take out an $800,000 overdraft loan to get my cash balance to 0. So it's bad cash management on my part. You can check, you can see I didn't take any additional loans here except for my overdraft loan, and that's what I paid in interest on it. Yikes. So whoever specializes in your corporate finance is going to want to look through this to see how they did. So those are the company operating reports. The last of the 3 reports I looked through, you can see just in terms of the video links, I've spent about 30 minutes making these videos, and I would say I easily spend 30 to 45 minutes looking through the products, making these sorts of decisions on my own. It's from these products that I then turn around and decide what am I going to do next year, so that I've got a lot of my strategic decisions worked out when I go to the computer, start entering them. Now, I certainly use the computer, particularly like the sales forecast, to do some trade-off studies. Would I be better off upping my advertising, or would I be better off lowering my price a little bit? So there's plenty of trade-offs that can be done there for you to sort out. But I go in with a pretty strong picture of what I feel like I need to do and where I think the industry's going. This is going to be really enjoyable. I hope I've whetted your appetite. Don't forget that we'll be doing round 1 in class on Wednesday night. Also, don't forget you owe me your quiz 1 by Wednesday night at 11 p.m. I think you can see just how enjoyable this is going to be. Yes, it is a lot to learn, but you're going to enjoy it. It's a very rewarding game to play, and it rewards good thinking and hard work. Look forward to seeing you Wednesday night in class.